Streaming. Grand. So welcome to the hybrid meeting of the Governance, Resources and Strategy Committee. Can I ask everyone to please mute their microphone at all times unless invited to speak by myself? For those of you who are physically in the chamber this evening, can I please remind you that when speaking into your microphone, you need to wait until you see yourself on the screens so the live feed can pick up your comments. If you speak before your image is projected, those listening to the live feed or via Zoom will not hear anything you say, and this is obviously particularly important in the case of a vote being required. Have any apologies? I have an apology from Councillor Fergal Donnelly. Have we any other apologies on the floor? No. And in terms of declarations of interest, content to take them as we move through the meeting. Shall we say anything? Oh. Go on. So first item then, item 3.1, and Martina is going to take us through this. Martina.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, members. This report is asking you to consider the content of the report and agree to approve policies attached at appendices 1 to 5. The committee will remember that in January 23, there was a decision made that where there were policies with no significant change or no significant impact to the changes made, that they would be approved on block by this committee and by way of a quarterly report. So the policies listed there for your information, and if there's any queries, happy to take any questions. Otherwise, I would ask members to approve. Thank you.
Now, members, any questions or comments? If not, could I have a proposer and seconder? Proposed by Councillor Ferguson. Seconded by Councillor Duffy. All agreed? Thank you, members. So agenda item 3.2, and again back to Martina.
Thank you, Chair. So this is in relation to a revised complaints policy, and the reason why the policy has been updated at this time is to facilitate the introduction of new model complaints handling procedures to Council, which we will be introducing before the end of December as a result of a direction from NIPSO in terms of a model complaints handling procedure for government bodies. Again, members happy to take any questions, but we already did have a corporate complaints policy, and this is a review to take account of the new procedures. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Martina. I'll bring in Alderman Moutray.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Martina, for bringing that report. In the report, it outlines the fact that complaints will change from a 3-stage process to a 2-stage process, and that's to be welcomed. Anything that's short circuit. So, but it said that where possible, someone else will deal with the complaint apart from the person that it involves. Can you tell me what circumstances would there be where the person the complaint's against would deal with it?
Thank you, Alderman Moutray, for the question. I think it really just is to reflect the fact that the department or the area, if the complaint relates to the work of a specific person or a specific team, that the people who have been involved in that will not be dealing with it directly. So it brings that degree of independence. And I suppose it's just to clarify that, I suppose for the customer's point of view, that is the case. And I'm sure up until this point, that is the case. That is how our existing complaints procedures would be set out. But I suppose it's just to give that clarity. Thank you.
You content, Alderman Moutray? Any other questions or comments, members? If not, could we have a proposer and seconder then? Proposed by Councillor Claire McConville Walker, seconded by Councillor O'Dowd. All agreed? Thank you, members. Moving on then to decision item 4.1. And there's the consultation documents from external organisations, and Elaine's going to take us on that one.
Thank you, Chair, and evening members. Yes, members, this is our regular monthly consultation documents from external organisations. As normal, they're attached there as Appendix 1. And again, as normal, I'm happy to take any comments on those, but I'm seeking members' approval for the consultation schedule for this month. Thank you.
Thank you, Ilian, and I bring in Alderman Moutray.
Thank you, Chair. Just a question in relation to the consultation from the Department of Education and RSE. Is it my understanding correct then that Council will note this but won't be making any response to it? That's correct. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions or comments, members? Nope. I have a proposed, sorry. Yourself, Councillor Moutray.
Yep, thank you, Chair. And I suppose, yes, just wanted to touch on my colleague's question. And I just wanted to raise the point just in reference to the consultation that's before us. It's something that we as members have probably all been lobbied on by constituents. I know a lot of parents and grandparents feel incredibly strong about this. The consultation, which has recently been launched, it's something that we as a council, I think it's incredibly important before it's brought to us. If any formal response was to be made, it's incredibly important that that should be considered in a full council meeting and considered by all members. The consultation before us is incredibly limited in its scope. There's a clear absence of questions regarding the principle of this new system. The consultation ignores the plight of teachers, and it appears to deny them of an exemption for their conscientious objection. And I would still, however, encourage every concerned parent and grandparent, those who have been in touch with myself and with many of my colleagues, to engage with the consultation and to register their discontent. The position of my party is clear, that we should respect parents whilst respecting schools, respecting principals and teachers, respecting conscience, and above all else, respecting the innocence of children. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Members still need a proposer and a seconder. Proposed by Councillor Hare. Second. Seconded by Councillor Savage. Thank you, members. Agenda item 4.2, members, is an information item in relation to the update in the work of Council's data officer. Any questions or comments? No, content to move on. Agenda item 5 then is a fairly lengthy item. Elaine's going to take us through this. Is the update on the governance arrangements. And I think we're going to take the 4 decisions separately. So we'll go through each part separately and take a decision on each one as we go through it. So, okay, members, I'll hand over to Elaine.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, the Governance Working Group met on the 26th of September and considered a number of items that was agreed that this report then be brought back to committee. As the Chair said, there's a number of items here and I'm going to take members through them one by one. The first in the report then is the review of committees, which started from a recommendation in our governance review. The first part of this, members, was to pilot the move of community development papers to the Economic Development Committee. And I'd just like to draw members' attention to the planned workshops for the leisure services, which will be upcoming over the next number of months. And to remind members that this pilot will be reviewed at the end of its 6 months, and we've set out in the paper how we intend to do so. The second part of this, members, is the review of committees more generally. And it was part of the governance review to update the terms of reference for all committees. This has been done and drafts have been attached for members' review and approval. So the recommendation there, members, is we're seeking your approval for the updated and reviewed terms of references for committees which were attached.
Panel members, any comments or thoughts on the committee structures, or Alderman Moutry?
Thank you, Chair. Again, in relation to the removal of items of information for committees, I have very grave misgivings about that.
Sorry, it's just the first bit, which is the terms of reference. We'll come to the information items. Sorry, Alderman Moutry. So just in relation to the first part then, which is the new terms of reference for the new committee structures moving forward, which we've discussed before, if we could have a proposer and seconder in respect of that aspect of it. Proposed by Councillor Lavery, seconded by Councillor Duffy. Thank you. And then if we move to, sorry, you're looking at it again, Alderman Moutry?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Hopefully I've got the right point.
So we all agreed then on that, the first aspect, and then we'll move to the second, which is the format of the minutes. And we'll let Liam will lead us into that.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, the second item on the report is regarding the format of minutes. So following Governance Committee in March, Member Services had drafted a reduced style of minutes, which are attached for members there as Appendix 2. At the working group, members had differing views on the reducing of the minutes, and had also asked if officers could clarify the option of having additional audio recordings at meetings. Officers have checked on the current position on this, and it was agreed in governance in November 19, and approval was given then for audio recordings to be taken where the capability existed for the purpose of the production of minutes. There is a live stream, as members know, of the open business section of committees. However, once we go into committee, that live stream isn't then recording the business. Instead, that's done through an audio recording of the room through a recording systems in the back corner. The recording software here in the chamber is faulty, and the discussion system no longer has the capability and works properly to record audio. The method that we're currently using is unreliable. However, there are discussions ongoing with providers with regarding to updating the discussion system here in the chamber. And if in the future then audio recordings would become desirable and possible for members, we could look at the GDPR implications and put proper processes in place to make this possible. So members, that really leaves three options at the minute with regard to the format of minutes. Number one is to continue as we currently do with the more verbatim style of minute. Number two is to adopt the reduced style of minute, which is attached for members in the papers. And number three is to continue as we currently are with the more verbatim style, and to revisit this again in the future when any upgrade to the discussion system here in the chamber would make audio recording a possibility. And tonight, members, I'm seeking members' thoughts and direction on where they want to go with the format of minutes. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Liam, and I'll bring in Alderman Baxter.
Yeah, and I suppose I have a couple of points. The first question, Elaine, you probably won't have the answer to this. The recording in here in the state-of-the-art chamber is faulty. How long has it been faulty? And is it not just a case of getting a technician in to fix it? Maybe it's a simplistic view. In terms of the minutes, until there was some sort of recording that was kept on file that members would have easy access to, I would be loath to change them at this stage until such times as that's in place. Just to be honest, because I think sometimes, you know, what's said in committee can be lost, even in the verbatim minutes. Sometimes, you know, it's hard to pick out actually what the theme of what you were saying was. And I think if we make those even less and we don't have any recordings to back it up, I think that would be problematic going forward. If there was ever an issue, there's no proof of what actually you did say in the theme. Wouldn't be in favour of doing that until we look further into recordings and how we keep recordings and doing all that and fixing what's in the chamber. I don't know if you have an answer to that in particular about the recording equipment here, because I just assumed that that's what we done and this was state of the art here.
I'm unable to answer that. I don't know exactly how long it hasn't been working. I do know from talking to our ICT people, it has been for a while. The workaround works for the production of minutes. They're still able to use the process we use, but our ICT department themselves have been unable to fix the technical fault in the discussion system that's leading to it. And that's why the upgrading around the software has been looked at. I know it has been in place for quite a number of years, and I think it's felt it's just there are a number of faults there that need to be addressed, and it's not possible for our own ICT department to be able to fix that particular one.
Thank you, Ilian. I'll bring in Councillor Lavery.
Thank you, Chair. It looks like myself and my good friend Alderman Baxter are going to be in agreement here tonight. I'd agree members would know our record regarding the proposing change of the minutes, and we thought that wasn't a good idea at the time. I think given what the points raised about the audio equipment and that the audio files for the confidential business were being deleted after we're done, I think we need to get everything settled before we look into the matter, because it's important that we maintain openness and transparency. So if that was a proposal from Alderman Baxter, I'd be happy to second, regarding continuing with the current style of minutes pursuant to various the audio issues getting resolved and come back at a future date. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lavery. I'll bring in Councillor Savage.
Thank you, Chair. And we might be needing a new microphone system, so I just spilled a glass of water. I think we're in agreement tonight, Chair, because I think whilst I would like to see an easier style of minutes to reflect what's been said in the meetings, and I think that came out of the governance review, until we have an audio system that we can capture what is said and keep it recorded properly, I think we should remain with what we've got until that's sorted. And I don't know if Alderman Baxter proposed it. I know Councillor Lavery seconded it there, but if it needs proposed, I'm happy to do so, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Savage. And I think most members in agreement that option 3, which is we continue as we are, while officers continue to look at the audio equipment. Is that agreed approach? Thank you, members. So the next item then is the information items and the new approach to information items, and I'll bring Elaine back in.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, item number 3 in the report then is the further recommendation from the governance review that was to reduce the number of information items which go to committee. The governance working group discussed ways of doing this, and a suggestion that has been made is that it could be achieved by uploading the information items to a library section within discussion time, allowing members to review them at their own convenience. This also means that members, it's not that we're taking any information items off the table, members will still get all of the information items they would have got, just in a different format. A list of the information items uploaded would also be included on the agenda for each committee to make sure that members' attention was drawn to them and they were aware of them, but not necessarily for discussion at the meeting. So tonight, members, I'm asking you for your opinions on removing information items from committee agendas. And the one exception that the governance working group made to that was the financial information items that come to this report. It was felt necessary that those still go on the normal agenda. But I would be keen to hear members' opinions tonight.
Thank you, Elaine. I'll bring in Alderman Moutry. Oh, sorry, my system is something happened here. Your fault, Cam. Members and members of the public, we're going to take a short 10-minute adjournment to try and sort out the technical problems. So 10 minutes, we'll see you all then. Thank you. Members and members of the public, apologies for that slight technical interruption. And we're going to resume the meeting now. And I was just about to bring Alderman Moutry in on the information items.
Thank you, Chair. I'm really afraid to come in, but we'll chance it anyway. So, in relation to the items for information, I would have reservations about removing these. Sometimes when we're going through our iPads, you need to be moving quick enough to keep up with things. And I think the items of information are there for a reason. They're to inform us. And I can't see any benefit strategically for moving them to another part of the papers. So I would propose that we leave the items of information as they are and as they have been, unless somebody can persuade me of a reason otherwise.
Thank you, Alderman Moutry, as well worth waiting for. And I'll bring in I'll bring in Councillor Lavery.
Thank you, Chair. Well, no, I usually persuade Alderman Moutry on most matters, but I'm not coming in to persuade him to change his mind, and we'll be coming in an agreement. I know at the governance working group, we're asking about what determines an information item, and then if there's any clarity, if members of the public or anyone looking at the agendas online would be able to see these information items if they're in this library. And there was no real clarity on that at the time. So be cautious as well about removing them myself. I think it'd be worthwhile to actually get information on what constitutes an information, like why the officers decided to bring, like a GIS report rather than circulate that via email and things like that. I think that would be the first step to get some clarity on decision processes around what comes to committee and what doesn't, what instead circulated by email, and what elected members aren't told as well. So I wouldn't like to see any change because it could lead to reducing transparency for the repair at this time, until such a time as we get more information, through the governance working group and so on. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And yes, no, this members' hands in this, and if members want to maintain the status quo with how we currently do information items, that's perfectly acceptable. Building on what Councillor Lavery has said, I'd be happy when we next meet with the governance working group, we can have a further discussion on how we decide what information items are and how those are brought forward. And again, this is an item that when members, and if members wanted to revisit in the future, we could look at that. Thank you.
Well, members, obviously we don't have consensus on the recommendation. Are members content that we maybe continue discussions on the information items at the working group and maybe revisit it later? Happy enough? Thank you, members. So we're moving on then to the last one, which is the revised membership of the working groups. And again, I'll bring Elaine in.
Thank you, Chair. The last item then that is on this paper, members, is around the membership of working groups. And in May, ahead of the AGM, it was asked that a paper on membership of working groups be brought back to the governance working group for consideration. In 2016, it was agreed that membership of working groups would consist of 2 reps per party for the DUP, UUP, Sinn Féin, SDLP and UKIP, and 1 independent, plus the chair of the relevant committee. Following then local government elections in 2019, 2 representatives from the Alliance Party were added, and the UKIP membership was no longer a member of council. Attached for members tonight is a list of all of the current project boards, partnerships and working groups, and that was presented to the working group as well. For the purposes of the discussion tonight, we're only really focusing on the working groups element of this, which we've highlighted in that appendices for you in pink. Discussion took place with members at the working group in terms of options, which included maintaining the current arrangements. We looked at an option of the use of Tahant or quota of greatest remainder, and we discussed other methods of proportionality. It was the preferred option of the working group that we reach a compromise on the arrangements, which consisted of 2 members from Sinn Féin, 2 from DUP, 1 from UUP, 1 from Alliance, 1 from SDLP, 1 for TUV and 1 for Independents, as well as the relevant committee chair. This would make working groups of 9 members. However, it was felt at the working group that there would be exceptions to this model and that the current membership should apply to these. And there are the Emerging Issues Working Group, the Environmental Services Member Working Group, and the Estimates and Efficiency Working Group. And there's detail there of how those would be made up. Officers would recommend the revised membership of working groups as recommended by the Governance Working Group. Thank you.
Thank you, Ilian. I'll bring in Alderman Baxter.
Thank you, Chair. And I think at the working group, maybe this was one of the ones that we did have an agreement on. So happy to propose. I just want to clarify with you, didn't we say that we'll allow a substitute as well if somebody's not able to attend? Just, yeah. So I'm happy to propose that, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Baxter. Any more comments or proposed by Alderman Baxter? Have someone seconded? Right. Second by Councillor Hare. All agreed? Sorry, you're looking in, Councillor Savage? 100%. Thank you. So the next item, members, is then the correspondence items, and we've had no items of correspondence. So I'd now like to seek a proposer and a seconder to go into committee for consideration of the confidential items of business. Members on online viewers in accordance with our proposer and seconder first. Proposed by Councillor McClellan, seconded by Councillor Duffy. So members and online viewers in accordance with Schedule 6 of the Local Government Act, we will now be moving into confidential session of the council. This means that we will be turning off the public feed of the meeting. This will be returned when the meeting is restarted. And can I ask ICT officers to please turn off the feed and confirm with me when the confidential section of the meeting can proceed? open session. Thank you. So members, we're now the last item, any other business? I have had none notified to me, so thank you all very much and safe home. Thank you.